Hi, this is Maggie Wright at Full Metal Rock, and today I have the absolute thrill to be speaking to Michael Sweet. Hello, Michael. How are you?
Hey, Maggie. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for talking to us today. I'm so excited not only to be speaking to you because I'm thrilled to be speaking to you, but I'm also thrilled about your new album, One-Sided War, which has been out for just under a couple weeks now.
It has. It came out on the 26th, and it's doing really well. I mean, so far, the response from the fans and reviewers and people that I've spoken to who have heard it, everyone seems to really like it. And I say this politely. That's not why I make records. I don't try to make records necessarily to try to please everybody. I just try to make albums that come from the heart, and I put my all into them and try to make them the best sounding, best performed album that I've ever done. I always try to outdo the last. And then I just, hope people get it and hope people like it. People seem to get One-Sided War. The response has been incredible. Please.
Absolutely. Well, you can include us in the list of people that are thrilled with it. For me, I've been hooked on it from start to finish. I've had it on repeat. I've already got my favorites lined up, but I know me and my favorites can change from one day to the next depending on my mood. But that's what I like about the album is it has that variety in it. And I know you've said that this is your heaviest solo album. This is your 7th studio album, which is an accomplishment in itself. But the talent that you have with you on this album is just a whole nother story. We could do like a series just on the experience, the diversity, the eclectic mix that has come in on this album. And I wondered if you could tell us about how you got this together.
Absolutely. As a producer, I think most people view me as a, singer. And some people know that I'm a guitar player as well. Not all people, which is very odd. And then probably most people don't know that I'm a producer. And that's fine. I don't wave the flag out there and scream it from the rooftops, but I am. I'm a producer, and every bit as much as I am a singer or a guitar player and a writer as well. And, in producing, you really got to take into account what's best for the album. What's going to bring in the best quality, the best performances for the album. How are you going to achieve that? And, when you're in a band situation like I am with Stryper, and this isn't to disrespect Rob, Oz, or Tim. They're great players. But, that's the band. So that's who's going to play on the album.
Yes.
You don't think of it as who do I get to play this or who do I get to play that. But when I do a solo album, I get to do that. There's more freedom, and with that freedom comes obviously some really interesting choices and interesting tracks. When you get a guy like, first of all, without rambling on and on, I was going to play all the guitars on the album and kind of showcase my guitar playing. And as I started working out solos, it started really hitting me and dawning on me that it was definitely sounding more and more like a Stryper album, much more than I wanted it to.
Okay.
Because I play in Stryper, I sing in Stryper. So the more I played on this album, the more it started to sound kind of like Stryper. Not that that's a bad thing. So that's when I made the decision as a producer to bring in some other guitar players. And my first thought was, I was going to try to get Nuno. Nuno was all set. Yeah, he was all set to do a couple songs, and he was in. He loved the stuff, and he's going to do it. But he had an Extreme album to complete, and he was working on that. So, I thought of Joel Hoekstra and Ethan Brosh immediately. No hesitation, just those two guys. And I reached out to both of them. They both were thrilled and wanted to do it. And I knew which songs I wanted Joel on, and I knew which songs I wanted Ethan on.
Well, they sound amazing. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, they killed it. I mean, they're amazing.
Yeah, I'm at a loss for words almost because I could dissect the songs by each musician and give it a whole feature on its own because it's that amazing. Joel is outstanding. What Will Hunt brings on the drums just gets me every time. Some of the drum intros, I'm just like, I find myself going, yes, particularly in like Can't Take This Life or You Make Me Wanna. The drum start is just like, yes, you have my attention now. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah, and Will, if anybody that knows who Will is, they know that he's one of the best drummers in the world, and he really is. And there's a reason why he plays with so many bands, because they all want him, because he's so good. Obviously, his big band right now at the moment is Evanescence, and he's touring with them this year. But, I saw Will perform with Sebastian Bach, of all people, and I was just blown away. And we spoke after the show. We were watching another band at that festival. It was M3. And, I said, buddy, I would love to have you on my solo album. And that was it. He's a big fan, and he agreed, and, there you go.
I'm so glad that they all agreed, because I just can't imagine these songs without them now. It's just the touch that they've put on it. In your EPK, you mentioned that you have some songs that have the Iron Maiden feel and the Van Halen influence and all that, which, you can hear that, but they're also very distinct, not just to each of the musicians, but also to what you put together musically.
Well, I'm really happy to hear that. I mean, you're always going to hear those flavors and those influences come out of me. But you're going to hear that I hear the influences from Van Halen that they've had.
Yeah.
As a musician. You may not, you may, other people may not, but any band that I listen to, I can hear their musical influences.
I have to mention, sorry, I can't let the interview run away without me mentioning Mariah on the bonus track. Where did you find this young lady?
Yeah, Mariah, and then Donald Boyle I'll talk about after Mariah, who's just ridiculously talented too. Mariah, I did a show with Mariah in New York. I was doing an acoustic show, and she opened for me, and she completely blew me away. I don't think in the history of music, since I've been doing music my life, have I ever come out of the dressing room so many times to watch the opener.
Yeah.
Usually I'll go and watch it. I'll go watch 2 or 3 songs and then go back and get ready. I kept coming out of the dressing room with Mariah because I couldn't believe what I was hearing, She was singing Heart and Skid Row and Evanescence and Hailstorm and just killing everything. And then when I found out she was only 15 years old and she was playing guitar really well, and then I found out she writes and she plays lead guitar and just all this stuff. And then I met her, and she's very humble and sweet, and I'm just thinking, wow, this girl's a rock star, She is a rock star. And my wife suggested us working together to me, and I, after thinking about it and how and where and when and all that stuff, I asked if she would sing on my album, and she did, and that's it.
And then you've got Donald Boyle, as you mentioned, on bass, who also is another one that's just outstanding on this. It's incredible that I believe that, people come across each other's paths for a reason. I'm a bit funny that way. And
no doubt.
This sort of thing, it just confirms it for me, that people are in the right place at the right time or available at the right time for something to come together. So hats off to you all, because I think what you put together from start to finish is really something special.
Well, I said this on my Facebook page, and then it got reposted or shared on the Striper Facebook page, and that's kind of treading on thin ice. You got to be careful with the Striper fans, because sometimes they take it as being disrespectful or whatnot to the other guys. But I had a guy do a review of the album, and he said it's the best thing I've ever done, and he said even better than Striper. And, that's not to take away anything from Striper. Striper obviously has made their mark, and the record speaks for itself, But at the same time, that's really exciting. Of course it is for me to hear, and to hear that people are accepting and appreciating and liking and loving this album so much. And, I look at it as whether it's Striper, Sweet Lynch, or Solo, or whoever else, I look at it as I want to outdo the last. Like, I look forward to outdoing One-Sided War.
Absolutely.
Whether it's with the next solo album or the next Striper album or whatever.
If you're not trying to, improve on something, then you end up sort of stagnating. So I don't always understand why. At the end of the day, it's opinion. But your work is your work, whether you're writing for Striper, whether you're writing for yourself, When you're writing, for some other side project that you decide to do at some other point,
Exactly.
the fact that your work is acknowledged is a great thing, and you should be proud of that.
I know, no, totally, and I completely 100% agree with you. So, I've been reading reviews like that, where even people who say, reviewers, not just people on Blabbermouth, but reviewers that say they're not Stryper fans, but they like this album. So that's really crazy to hear. I don't know why. I can't explain that. That wasn't the goal or the motive in making this album. I don't understand, but at the same time, it's pretty thrilling to hear it nonetheless.
Yeah, it is. And I think people are always going to try to compare something to something else just
right.
because it's human nature to do that. But that doesn't take away from anybody else. It doesn't.
Right.
It's just saying how that particular bit of music makes that person feel at that time. So
totally agree with you. 100%. Perfect.
to get that right. That said, Stryper is on tour this month with the Fallen Tour, which ends towards the end of this month before the To Hell with the Devil tour starts.
We got a few more dates for the Fallen Tour. 2 coming up this weekend. And then I think we've got 1 or 2 more. And then we start officially the To Hell with the Devil tour, and that starts in late September.
The
and
29th.
That's going to go all the way. Yes.
In Atlanta.
And that's right. And it's going to go all the way through to the, technically we're going into December because we're going to be doing some South American dates as well.
And it's original outfits, I understand.
It is, and depending upon how you look at it, that's fortunately or unfortunately.
Have you had to cut back on the desserts to fit into those original outfits, or is
well,
it just,
you know what? Yeah,
I
have said
the original style but revamped for their.
Yeah, they're revamped, but I mean they're still slim, and we. That's the one thing about Stryper is we really try to work on our health and stay in shape and whatnot. We eat good and we eat right and all that good stuff, but we work hard.
I'm just teasing.
No.
I was
get
not
it.
being serious. I was not being serious in any way, shape, or form. But you're playing To Hell with the Devil in its entirety, plus the fan favorites that people want to hear, and you've got VIP packages for those available. So you've got a lot going on, and it's unusual for someone to have a solo album come out without a tour immediately backing it up. So do you have plans to tour with One-Sided War?
It is a little unusual. And again, this isn't a knock against Stryper. So I hope no one takes it this way or that way. But, Stryper takes precedence over what I'm doing. That's sometimes unfortunate because if I do have a solo album that's coming out or a book or what have you, then I got to go do Stryper stuff. It gets real tricky. And it just so happens that my album was scheduled at the same time that the 30th anniversary To Hell with the Devil tour was being scheduled, and no one really saw that coming, but it just worked out that way. But I do plan to, after the To Hell with the Devil tour next year, I do plan to, after recording a Sweet and Lynch album, and possibly a Stryper album at some point, I do plan to tour solo.
Well, that's amazing to hear. You're an incredibly busy man. I don't know how you balance all the hats that you wear. Do you think there's potential for the lineup that's on the album to tour with you, or will that just depend on people's availability? Because I know in the video for Radio, which I love, by the way, you have Todd Kearns of The Conspirators on bass, who I'm a big fan of. He's amazing. Is there room for alternates on who's touring with you, or would you like to keep the album lineup if you can?
Oh, you know what? I would love to assemble the best band that I could put together. Whether it's the album lineup or not, or the video lineup, of course, absolutely. I think it's a given that I got to get Ethan and or Joel or both. I think that's really important because they brought so much to the table. And then Will Hunt, obviously as well. I mean, everyone's going to want to see Will play and hear him play these songs, and he's got such a following, and I think that would be a great thing to do. And then on bass, I don't know if John will be able to do it or not. I know he does a lot of session work, and he's a family guy, and if it is tricky, I mean, I'd love to take Todd. I've actually talked to Todd about touring together, and he said he's in. He said he'd love to.
That would be fantastic. I look forward to hearing about that. I don't envy what you're going to have to do if the lineup that you initially want is not available. It's not going to be an easy decision for you.
It's not. And I mean, the thing is with all these guys is they all have other gigs going on. I mean, Joel plays for White Snake, and Will is in Evanescence, and he goes over to Italy and tours. I mean, they all have stuff going on. So that's the tricky part. Yeah,
absolutely. I want to mention, if I can, you're a man of faith. Your wife of 22 years passed away 7 years ago, I believe now, Kyle. And you've had a big influence on people because of your faith and because of what you went through. I know so many people that are touched by cancer, either because they have it, they've had it, and are in remission. Someone they know has had it. It's such a cruel disease. My editor, Tim, his wife, Cindy, her mother is currently going through a battle with cancer. Her name is Pat. I just wanted to ask if you would keep her in your thoughts and prayers while you're doing your thing.
Her name is Pat?
Her name is Pat, and they're having a very difficult time. I want to say, whether people like the Christian rock type of thing, whether they are not religious at all, faith is something that you have to have, whether it's in one God, multiple gods, or, faith in yourself. And one of the things that I love about this album and the message that you bring across as a person is the encouragement to be the best you can be, give all that you've got, and make something positive in the end. It's so inspiring because in rock music, there is a predominance for anger and hatred and just negativity, which I understand, the music is a means of exercising that. But it's nice to have the other side of that, the positivity, rather than just all negativity thrown at you. And I wanted to thank you as a person and as a fan for that, because I think...
Well, I appreciate your words, and I think they're very important. And I try as a person to be influential and to be positive and inspiring and encouraging. I'm very opinionated as well. I'm the kind of guy that will tell you the truth. Like, for example, it's on radio. People are asking me, well, what do you think about rock stars trying to be country stars? I'm going to tell you the truth about it. And that might come across sometimes as me being mean-spirited or just a jerk. And I really try hard to put myself in other people's shoes and to be encouraging and not be nasty, because life is too short. I don't want to be nasty. I want my legacy to be about light and to be about faith and to be about good things, not bad things. That's what I want to be remembered for. But at the same time, I'm brutally honest. I always have been, and I try to be. I appreciate hearing you say that it's refreshing and it's nice to see, and I just feel blessed. I mean, it is truly a rarity for artists to make a stand for good things. I mean, nine times out of 10, you do read lyrics of bands, and it's about angst and it's about this and that, and we all live it, we all experience it, we all have emotions we need to release and vent and get out. But gosh, the world has enough of that. We sit and we watch the news, and then we wonder why people are being killed. We wonder why there's so much anger and people are being shot and brutalized and raped and all this craziness. And, well, I wonder why. Because those are the seeds that we're planting. So, of course, we're going to reap what we sow. And I want to be a guy and an artist that brings something new to the table. And not just new, but something good.
I think you've done that, and I think you've, done an excellent job of creating your legacy. And I want this to continue for many. I know you've been doing it for many years. I hope it continues for many more. The album One-Sided War, as we said, came out August 26th and is incredible. It's something that you must have in your iTunes library or your Google Play or whatever method of purchasing it.
I'm gonna go download it now.
Thank you. Thanks for talking to us at Full Metal Rock. This has been Maggie Wright, and this has been Michael Sweet. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
Maggie, it's been my pleasure and an honor. Thank you, and hopefully we'll see you out there on the road at a show, okay?
Absolutely.